What's up, y'all? It's your boy Tevin Jameer back at it again with another episode of the Hate It or Love It podcast. And you know what? I didn't really have much topics to talk about this week, but I've seen on everywhere pretty much that it's the 1 year anniversary of the Drake and Kendrick feud. Now, y'all already know I kind of do get tired of like talking about this battle and stuff like that, but for the 1 year anniversary, I do like to cover music a lot. So for y'all, um I'm gonna cover it. And today I'm not gonna cover it like, what's my thoughts on the battle and stuff like that. I'm basically just gonna rank the songs that was in the battle, basically, just say which songs was my least favorite all the way up to my favorite. And yeah, that's pretty much what I'm gonna do today. And I already know a lot of people are probably gonna disagree with my ranking. There's some placements here that people are probably not going to like, but this is my list and there is no wrong or right answer unless you're saying that Drake won. If you say Drake won, then yeah, that's the wrong answer. I'm obviously joking. But if you really feel like Drake won, then hey, that's all personal opinion. That's the thing about hip hop. Like, we all have our personal opinions and stuff like that, but that's what makes it fun, talking about this stuff. And if you guys check out the episode and you like it, remember, like, comment, subscribe, and tell me down below where y'all rank these songs at. But all right, y'all, let's get into it. Now, when I say that I'm going to rank all the songs in the beef, I'm only ranking what Drake and Kendrick has done. So if you know, J. Cole's 7 Minute Drill, I'm not going to include that. Rick Ross's Champagne Moments, I'm not going to, or Champagne Poetry, whatever the song was called. I'm not putting that in there. I'm only putting out stuff where Drake and Kendrick was actively going at each other. So let's go with this. And at number 10, we got Buried Alive Interlude Part 2. Um Truth be told, I only heard this like a few times and I never went back to it. I don't even think it was released like, yeah, it wasn't ever released like on streaming platforms. I think it was only released on Instagram or whatever. But yeah, not that it's a bad song or anything, and I don't really think any song from this battle is bad, including Heart Part 6. I don't think any song in this battle was bad. It's just Buried Alive Part 2. I listened to it. I thought it was decent, but it wasn't like anything that I was like, oh, I got to go back to listen to this again. It's just like, it was a cool little, like, maybe once or twice listen, but I don't have to listen to this, again, truthfully. And that's not me saying it's bad. It just doesn't require a re-listen. At number 9, we have the Heart Part 6. A lot of people hate this song, but honestly, I actually thought Heart Part 6 was the type of energy that Drake should have been on the whole battle. And I don't mean like in a defensive way, because that song does very much feel like a defense instead of like, offense. Um, the reason I say that that's the energy he should have came with is because one of the things, and I know a lot of people try to say like different reasons for why Drake ultimately lost, in most people's eyes, like, oh, the public already hated Drake. People, Drake turned on a lot of people, so therefore their fans turned on him. Like, I get a lot of different narratives that people be saying, but truth be told, when I say that the Heart Part 6 is the way that he should have gone, it's it's the fact that Kendrick is a lyricist. Kendrick is someone who takes penmanship writing and all that serious. And I feel like Heart Part 6 was the closest that we got to Drake really trying to be in his lyrical bag. Now, I'm not saying that he wasn't throwing any bars or anything like that, but you could tell that there was a little bit more of an attempt of trying to be more on like a lyrical side with this song. I hope you guys get what I'm saying. I feel like some people might misconstrue what I'm saying, but like, yeah. But this song is still very low on the list just because, while I may appreciate Heart Part 6 more than most people, I can admit its shortcomings. Like I said, it's a very defensive song. Which he really should have went on the offense. It's like after a song like Not Like Us, even if you can't top it, even if you feel like you can't top it, like, you had to do something better than this. So while I think the Heart Part 6 is decent, I do feel like there was definitely more that should have been done, because this really feels like you're trying to talk to the press instead of actually going at Kendrick, because the most of the song felt like he was just trying to disprove that he's, likes younger people. I'm gonna put it like that. But the song just felt more like a defense of him defending himself than him actually going at Kendrick. And it's like, I get it. Like, obviously you have to have some type of defense for yourself, but it's like he could have done it in a better way. That's all I'm saying. At number 8, Tailor Made Freestyle. Now, this is on the lower end of my list, but I also want to say that I actually quite I'll say, like, I actually do like Tailor Made Freestyle a lot more than most people. Now, do I go back and bump it and like listen to it a lot, and, like have it on repeat? No, I'm gonna keep it real. But I did put it on my Apple Music cloud, like, where you can put it on iTunes, add it to your cloud so you can always listen to it. I did add it because I genuinely do like the song more than most people. Now, if we're gonna look at it on a moral standpoint, and truth be told, I hate AI. So like, yeah, him using Tupac's voice as AI, when I look at it on a moral standpoint, and when I look at it like me personally not liking AI, I can admit what Drake did is up. Like, it is no doubt. If you guys have any respect for OGs, legends, like the people that came before us and what they done for us, then you got to admit that what he did with Tupac's voice was very disrespectful. So I'll give y'all that. But outside of, that part being disrespectful to Pac, I got to say, in terms of a battle, like to egg Kendrick on and stuff like that, not saying that it worked on Kendrick, but he did do a good level of trolling, in my opinion. Like, it kind of just makes sense. We all know Drake as a troll. We all know Drake likes to get under people's skin, even if he can't handle the responses. Lawsuit boy. Even though he can't handle the responses, he does like to troll people. And I feel like this song was a very big troll for Kendrick. Not only that, but you guys can hate whatever Drake did, but let's not sit here and act like the beat wasn't fire though. Like, that's probably one of the things that I love the most about the song. The beat is fire. So even if you don't like what Drake did on it, you gotta at least say that this was a wasted beat. Can we all admit that? Can we all admit that this song should have been used for something? The beat should have been used for something else, because Taylor Made's freestyle is probably one of my favorite beats throughout this whole battle. Like, that beat is fire. But personally, me, and I'm only looking at it on a battle standpoint, and that's probably why I don't go back to listen to it too much. But I'm looking at it on a battle standpoint. Personally, me, when you go into a rap battle, I feel like everybody loves to do, like, limits, like, oh, kids should be off limit, wives should be off limit. Everybody says this until battles start happening and people literally do it. Like, I don't understand why people keep trying to uphold these rules when we've seen countless of examples where people brought kids, wives, girlfriends, all of that. I definitely do believe you shouldn't be talking about that, but it gets to a certain point where if it just keeps coming up, then we need to let this rule go. So, I get that the Tupac thing was very disrespectful, but when you go into the mentality of a battle and, like, anything goes, then yeah, I feel like that was a very, good move on Drake's part. Now, ultimately, like I said, it is very disrespectful to Tupac. There wasn't really any crazy bars on this song. Like, it really was just meant to be a troll record. But for why I think the biggest thing for why I have to rank it lower on the list is because you literally gave Kendrick some of his biggest ammo on this song. Why would you get on this? And I know what he was trying to do. He was trying to do the 8 Mile thing, which I'm tired of people always trying to use the 8 Mile thing, because, that's a movie, and not to say that that tactic can't work in certain situations, but everybody needs to stop acting like that's a universal way to win a rap battle. Or even, I've seen even people use it in regular day arguments. Like, people need to stop acting like the 8 Mile approach works in every single situation. First off, that was a movie, and even if it did work in, one situation, it's not going to work in every universal situation. So Drake going on there trying to say, oh, talk about how I like young girls. I'm just like, why the fuck would you do that with someone like Kendrick, who, a Pulitzer Prize winner? He is good with words, and I'm not even trying to like, you know he's good with his words. So it's like, why would you do that? So, and that's the thing with rap battles, especially with this rap battle, because I can admit there was lies on both sides. Like Kendrick and Drake both said things that have not been proven true up to this day, a whole year later. So it's like sometimes it's not even about the truth, it's about what you can make people believe. And whether Drake is, like that or not, I don't truthfully think he is. I if Kendrick was saying the whole time that Drake is a groomer, I definitely believe there is a lot of evidence to say that Drake is a groomer. But to say that he's like a pedophile, like literally messing with these girls when they're still underage, yeah, I don't believe that. But Drake, you were stupid for even putting that out there for Kendrick to use. I'm pretty sure Kendrick would have still used it anyway, but the fact that you told him to say it and then he just doubled down, tripled down, quadrupled down on Not Like Us. It's like, you're stupid. Like, that was just really stupid. But all right, I'm talking a lot about Taylor Made Freestyle, but yeah, that was number 8. Number 7, we got 616 in LA. And I just want to say from here on out, these are all good songs in my opinion. They aren't decent. Like all these songs are good from here on out. 616 in LA, I thought it was a good song, but the only reason I don't have it higher is because the whole Drake part of the song, like dissing Drake. Now, I'm pretty sure there's like probably little hidden meanings in the first half of the song that we don't know about, because there has been speculation that like whatever Drake did. Apparently, there's a whole situation with Drake and a whole nother person, and apparently Kendrick was like alluding to that stuff in the first half. Look, that's stuff that obviously we all don't really know about. We can make speculation, but we don't know any concrete. The second half of the song where he was like, OVO is working for me, you got all these people around you, but they all want to see you lose. That is what made the song so good. 616 in LA was good. I mean, it was already good with the first half, but that's the part that made it hit. Not only that, but Kendrick and Drake kind of go back and forth on where Kendrick is getting his information to Drake's, to what he's saying to Drake. But from what we see with 616 in LA, and I guess there is no concrete evidence that someone actually fed Kendrick information, it's like the events that we've seen play out throughout the battle only kind of helps, prove that Kendrick may have actually had a mole. I know there's a lot of back and forth about it, but let's keep it real. Future things that happen within the same day of 616 in LA, within the same day, only prove that Kendrick may have actually had a mole, and it couldn't have been Drake. It really couldn't have been Drake. Um so yeah, 616 in LA is number 7. Number 6 is Family Matters, and I know there's a lot of people trying to defend Family Matters, saying that it's like honestly top 3 in the battle, but truth be told, here's why I can't say Family Matters is up there. In the first part of the song, it was getting there. I actually liked, the whole drop, 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 drop. Like I liked that. I liked the first part of the song, the first third of it, where he revealed that Kendrick's manager might actually have an affair with Whitney. Do I believe that's true? No, but the way that he presented it sounded fire on the beat. Um, then how he kind of interpolated Rich Baby Daddy to like, go at Kendrick and Dave Free and all that. Like the first third of the song was actually pretty good in my opinion. So I'm like, okay, I like this. Then the second part happens. And this is what I said to my friend Corey, because me and him we've both listened to Family Matters for the first time together. We were on a Zoom call and we were listening to Family Matters together. And I was actually like, oh, okay, Drake, like the first third. But then when we got to the second third where he was on the drill beat, which that was a fire drill beat, and Drake was flowing on it. But here's my problem with the second part. This is the main event. When it came to when it came to push-ups now, Drake was in a position where a lot of people was coming at him, so he wanted to address everybody all in one go. With push-ups, that made sense because that was your first full official song in this whole battle. So it made sense to me that you would, mostly go at Kendrick, but you would spare a couple bars to other people. Family Matters is the main event. This is the red button. This was the song that you've been teasing basically throughout the whole battle. This was the red button. And what you do with your red button is not focused strictly on Kendrick. You dedicated a whole third of your song to other people. Yeah, he threw little slight jabs back at Kendrick in the second part, but most of that second part was going at ASAP Rocky, going at Rick Ross, going at I think Future. I mean not Future, going at Metro, going at Weekend. Like Corey saw the disappointed look on my face as the second part was going. The flow is nice. And I'm not sitting here let me finish this point. The flow is nice, the beat was amazing. And not to say that the disses at other people was bad. I do like what he was saying. Those were pretty good disses. But my problem is if this is your red button, if this is the main event, if this is your main shot during this battle, why would you waste it on anybody else? Save that energy for another song, but this is the main event. Only talk about Kendrick. So that's a really big reason for why I can't put Family Matters any higher. And then and then and then the last third wasn't bad in my opinion, but it was like, after that second point where he really was focusing on a lot of people, it was like the third kind of already lost me. But I can admit that, like, the third part is pretty good. But yeah, overall Family Matters is still a good diss. It's just he did a lot of disappointing things. When you really like something but you also see aspects that disappoint you. That's what Family Matters is to me. It's like, it's not a bad song. I actually like it and I do listen to it, a few times, but there was just a lot of there was a lot of disappointing aspects to it. At number 5 we have Like That, and Kendrick went off. He went off, just simply point blank. Period. Went off. I liked, the double entendres with some of his bars and stuff like that. The way he ended out the verse, for all your dogs getting buried, that's a K with all these nines. You're gonna see a pet cemetery. Like that was fire. So yeah, and that's really all I can really say, because Like That, I mean, Future had his jabs, but this is mostly me judging Kendrick and Drake's performances on these songs. Um, and that's pretty much the only reason that I have it lower. Because if it was a whole Kendrick track, I'm pretty sure though it would probably be higher. But the fact that it's only one Kendrick verse of him going crazy, that's pretty much it. Though it is a really good song, so that's why it is this high. But I can't put it any higher because it's only a Kendrick verse. But golly, that verse was, because Kendrick and Drake has been subbing each other for the past decade when the song came out. This verse was so crazy that it finally got Drake to finally say, you know what, let's actually battle. Truth be told, I actually find Dr. Dre's Deep Water, I find Kendrick's verse on Deep Water more scathing than this, but whatever gets the job done. I guess, yeah, like I said, whatever gets the job done. Um Number 4, we got Push-Ups. And I know you guys may be saying, so how come you judge Family Matters for, everybody, with Drake dissing everybody, but Push-Ups, is this high up? Well, one, like I said, it's all about, when they drop the song. Family Matters was supposed to be the red button, where Push-Ups was kind of like, okay, you want smoke, then here's my first shot. Personally, me, I just like Push-Ups better, just because some of the bars that he had at Kendrick, I feel like this one had a lot of bars that I feel like hit a lot better. Um, Not only that, but the beat, in my opinion. Now, don't get me wrong, there's like 3 beats in Family Matters, but I do personally like the beat of Push-Ups. Whether we're talking about the original version and the official version, I do like the beats of Push-Ups more than Family Matters. And then not only that, but as much as I don't like academics, I do have to say it was fire that Drake put in the what top 5 are you smoking on, Kendrick? Like, I'm not gonna lie, that part was fire. The whole Metro shut your up and make some drums. Of course, that was fire. Um, Drake's like, I don't know, Drake's performance while the beat was going, like, I gotta listen to the song to really point it out, but I feel like I like his energy more with the beat on this song. Like, who, you ain't snatching no chain off of us? How the fuck you big stepping with a size 7 men's on? Oh my gosh, yo, Drake was actually really in his bag with this one. Like, I don't know what it is. I feel like there was a, and you know what? I like how more it sounds like Drake was more bloodthirsty and vicious on this song. I feel like Family Matters, he was kind of cocky, so he was like doing a little playful delivery on that song. I feel like there was a little bit more playfulness, but Push-Ups felt more serious in my opinion. So that's probably another reason I rank it higher. Like Push-Ups felt way more serious. It wasn't like he just felt a little too cocky on Family Matters. But Push-Ups, he was out for blood, so that's what I liked about that song. And then at number 3 we got, and this is one of the things that might make people mad, but Not Like Us. I got Not Like Us at number 3. um yeah, don't get me wrong, Not Like Us was a very disrespectful diss track. Not only that, but I love that Kendrick took Drake's approach of making a hit record that's also a diss. Because that's one thing that Drake is a very good, he is very good at doing. He will make a hit record, and sometimes it'll be an outright diss, like a back to back, or either it'll be like a slight little, like maybe it will be like a slight little thing that sounds normal, like sounds like any rapper would say, but there's actually a diss if you look deeper into it. Like Drake is a really good rapper at doing that. He's the king of doing that. Kendrick basically stole his formula. He was like, okay, let's go then. Let's talk about you being a pedophile on a West Coast bumping sounding beat, and my laptop closed. But let's talk about you being a pedophile on a bumping West Coast beat. And I'm gonna be disrespectful while also making a lot of quotables that people will love. That's the, I love that Kendrick did that. Like, yeah, he used Drake's formula against him. And I will say, whether Drake is actually a pedophile or not, Kendrick made it sound entertaining. Like I said, with this battle, one thing is definitely true. It's not about whether you're telling the truth, it's about how good you make it sound. And Not Like Us, like I said, I don't really believe that Drake is a pedophile. But man, did Kendrick make it sound good. So yeah. Not Like Us, honestly, I can't put it any higher just because, kind of like what I said about Family Matters. Not Like Us, you can tell is more Kendrick just having fun, and that's not taking anything away. Even with Family Matters, that's not really taking anything away from Drake. But personally, me, I'm not here to hear hit. I'm not here to, yeah, I'm not here to hear hit records in a battle. Now, if you make it sound good while being disrespectful, like I'm Not Like Us, okay, I rock with it. Not Like Us is a really good song. But when I hear a battle, I want to hear disrespect. I want to hear you really like, I don't, you get what I'm saying? Like, I really want to hear you say some really disrespectful stuff and really make the other person contemplate, like, what do I say back to that? Like that's what I want to hear. Not like Us has some of those elements, and obviously it is a very disrespectful diss record. But for people to say that it's the best diss record of all time, that's crazy in my opinion. But I can understand why a lot of people hold it to a high regard, because it is a very disrespectful song. But it's like, it's also a hit song, and it's also a song that Kendrick was more having fun on. Like I said, when I hear a battle, I want you to be vicious as, I want you to go for blood. So, and I don't mean like literally go for blood, like you want to meet this person in the street, but I mean like lyrically, I want to hear you go for blood. So, yeah. And because of that, number 2 is Meet the Grams. Boy, Kendrick made one of the most horror sounding diss tracks of all time. This thing doesn't even sound like regular music. This sounds like something that belongs in a horror movie. The pianos, there's not much going on in terms of instrumentation, and Kendrick says some of the most disrespectful stuff on this on this track. Like, it's crazy. One of my favorite bars on this song is where he's talking to Drake's mom. You raised a horrible person. The nerve of you, Dennis. Sandra, sit down, because what I'm about to tell you is heavy. Now listen. Your son's a sick man with sick thoughts. I think like him should die. Him and Weinstein should get up in a jail cell for the rest of their life. I know I messed that up because he didn't say jail cell, but like, y'all get what I'm saying, yo. Kendrick was like, and it's also, he wasn't trying to be funny, but it's also funny because it's like you're trying to, like, he's talking like he's trying to be sincere, but you know well you're being like, well what you're doing. You're being crazy, but you're trying to make it come off as sincere. Like talking to Drake's son, dear Adonis, I wish your grandfather would have wore a condom. Bruh, I just want to know when Adonis gets older, I really do want to know. I want his opinion. Obviously, I know when he gets old enough to understand the battle and all of that. I know TMZ and like other publications is gonna ask him like how does he feel about it in hindsight. But boy, I need that day to hurry up because like this man penned a whole letter to Adonis, penned a whole letter to Drake's mom, penned a whole letter to Drake's dad, which Drake's dad sounded salty as.
Oh, gotta ask, what do you think about Kendrick Lamar, Not Like Us, getting Record of the Year?
I don't care nothing about that.
No.
That ain't got nothing to do with me. All the best to him, man.
Okay, cool.
I don't do that bull.
I feel you, man.
But yeah, Meet the Grams, crazy, fire. The only reason that it's not number one is for one, just like I said with Drake, we need to be fair. I know a lot of people say that Kendrick won, and obviously I do believe that Kendrick won, but we do also need to be fair with certain aspects. Now, with just like with Kendrick saying that Drake is a pedophile and stuff like that, and I mean, just like with Drake saying that Kendrick beats on his wife, that his manager is low key, having an affair with his girlfriend and stuff like that. Like Drake has said things in this battle that has no proof whatsoever, and a lot of people like to dock points from Drake for that. But here's the thing: if Drake was to be proven right, we got to admit that would, help his case a little bit more. That would make the songs better in hindsight. I got to say the same thing about Kendrick with Meet the Grams. The final, now here's the thing. I feel like even if you take the final verse away, it still is a scathing diss track. People try to discredit Meet the Grams because of the whole "you have a secret daughter" in like one of the last few verses. But truth be told, even if you scrub that final verse, or it wasn't even a final verse, even if you scrub that whole letter to Drake's daughter's verse, even if she wasn't real, and you scrub that whole verse, the song still is scathing as. So I would still place it at number two, even if the daughter thing wasn't there. But because we have no proof of Drake having a secret daughter. Now, there's been little speculations, there's been little things that may make it look like that. But until we get concrete proof that Drake really has like a secret daughter that he was hiding, I got to say the same thing about what Kendrick did on this song that I said about Drake. There's no proof, so I can't add points to it. But if it was to be revealed that Drake was hiding a daughter, then you know what? In hindsight, Meet the Grams is crazy. But I would still not put it over number one. And obviously, number one is Euphoria. Personally, me, way better than Not Like Us, way better than Meet the Grams. Euphoria is, personally me, might be my actual favorite diss track of all time. I know there's Hit 'Em Up, I know there's Ether. Look, I know all them. I know all them. But personally, Euphoria may be my favorite diss track of all time. Just because I remember I was sitting here talking to some of my friends before the battle went off, and I was like, truth be told, I like a true diss track. I don't really hear people being like, "Hey, yo, bump that song, bump that specific diss track." I never really heard anybody say that. Euphoria is that one song for me where I will literally do that. I bump Euphoria like it's a regular track, like not even being associated with Drake. I bump Euphoria like it's a regular track. The song is just fire to me. The beat switches, the bars is crazy. Um and when I rap, like, because I be rapping along. I know the song word for word. When I rap along to Euphoria, I be rapping like I'm personally rapping to Drake or whatever. There are just a lot of different aspects that I like about Euphoria, and I just feel like I can't. You gotta listen. You gotta go back to my old videos where like I really go into detail to why I love the song so much. But like, yeah, I just love Euphoria. There's a lot of quotables. There's a lot of crazy bars. The beat switches is crazy. That's all I can really say. Euphoria is such an amazing track. But truth be told, like I said, I don't really think there's any bad song. I don't think there's a bad song in this whole battle. And truth be told, even though I get tired of the constant narratives about this battle and people talking about it, I do have to say that this battle was a really good thing for hip hop. um it put hip hop in a very it put hip hop in bigger stages than we've ever seen before, like the Super Bowl. I mean, we have seen hip hop artists on the Super Bowl stage, but like Kendrick, being the first being the first solo rapper to like headline the Super Bowl, which Dr. Dre, it was billed as Dr. Dre with all these people, but like Kendrick was solely, and I know SZA came out, but like that was, what I'm saying. The most of the focus was on Kendrick. Um, and I know a lot of people like to downplay Drake, but Drake, seen some success within the past year because of this battle. Let's not sit here and act like Drake still wasn't doing his thing for like the past year after this battle. Like, I know a lot of people like to talk shit about Drake, but let's keep it real. Drake has still been doing his thing. Kendrick has both been doing his thing. It brought real competition back to hip hop. People is focusing on bars again. Even if they're not dissing somebody, when people hop on the beats from this battle, people is like literally spazzing. Like, it put a lot of big focus on bars, which that was something that hip hop really was been. Hip hop's really been missing lyricism and bars and all of that for the past few years. So ultimately, the battle did bring out some good in hip hop. While I do feel like people are acting extra a little bit because of the battle, like acting like Kendrick can beat every single rapper ever. People acting like Drake is no longer who he is. It's just like, okay, I feel like people be exaggerating this shit, but ultimately this battle really is, a good thing for hip hop. And I'm just glad that it happened. Not only because I got to prove my point that Kendrick will win a rap battle against Drake. I did. Yo, I be debating with people like crazy these past few years, saying that Kendrick would wash Drake in a rap battle. And thank you, Kendrick, for proving my point. But ultimately, I say that I'm just glad this battle happened, mostly because, it's bringing lyricism and bars, it's bringing that as a focus in hip hop again. And like I said, it's putting hip hop on bigger platforms. With all that being said, let me know down below if you guys like this episode. Like, comment, subscribe. Obviously, tell me your ranking of the songs and stuff like that. And yeah, I know a lot of people's gonna probably disagree with my ranking, but like I said earlier, that's the fun of hip hop. Like, we get to talk about how we feel about certain things, and we get to build dialogue and stuff like that. So yeah. Um Next week, probably expect like a movie related episode or something like that. I like to go back and forth between movie and music episodes. And then not only that, but I'm gonna try to start vlogging for y'all this week. Don't really know what I'm gonna vlog because I don't really have anything special going on, but maybe you guys just want to see a realistic vlog. Whatever. But yeah, like I said, comment down below your ranking. And with all that being said, Tevin Jameer signing out. Catch y'all on the next one.